So as soon as UFC 315 wrapped up, we knew instantly it was going to be Maddalena versus Makhachev. And to me, I thought everyone's going to change their mind on Jack Della and be like, oh, this guy's a really tough challenge for Makhachev. But every time I go on Twitter or Instagram or fucking something else, it's literally just comments saying that he's going to maul him, this, that, and the other. It's going to be easy. First round Darce choke, I think I saw. And I'm just sat here, and I was like, what are they seeing that I ain't? So what I did is I watched Jack Della Maddalena versus Belal Muhammad again on Fight Pass, and then I watched Islam Makhachev versus Poirier and I did watch Volkanovski fight the night before that, the original, the first fight, which everyone says is a robbery. It wasn't. I thought it was pretty clear, 4 rounds to 1. I hate Dagestanis, but let's chill out a bit. But what the fuck? And it's like, I'm watching this Jack Della Maddalena fight with Belal Muhammad, and this needs to be said. JDM is a harder fight for Islam Makhachev than Ilia Topuria, fucking Armin Sarukian. I'd argue Armin Sarukian, but you know, I almost chose him for him to beat Islam for 311. I'm still 50-50 on that one. What else? Who else is a hard matchup? You know what, I'd say even a Gamrot is a hard fight for Islam, but like none of these guys are as hard as a fight as fucking Jack Della Maddalena is, and especially moving up. Like, are we stupid here? Like, they have the similar style. Like, they have a similar style of fighting, Belal and Islam, but one's more of a counter strike and the other one's more just pressure, get in your face and take down. The other one is counter with takedowns or counter with their own strikes, and it's like, I genuinely think Jack Della Maddalena would beat the living piss out of Islam Makhachev, and this sounds like a wild take, but it isn't a wild take, because when you actually watch the fights and don't just watch by unanimous decision Jack Della Maddalena, and then they're like, oh, in the comments, Islam coming for this belt or something like that in the comment section, and it's like, you look at the name, you look at the username, and you're like, oh, right, we know why you're rooting for Islam, don't we? And it's like, I don't understand where this misconception of Islam is just going to walk through Jack Della Maddalena. I honestly don't understand it. Like, I'm sat here watching the fight, and I think Jack Della Maddalena is going to beat his fucking ass. Like, I genuinely think that Jack Della is the worst matchup for Islam in any division, and it's like, it comes all down to, obviously, Jack Della is a 170. He's a big 172, or he looks a bit like a big 170, right? Islam is an average-sized lightweight. We know this now because we saw his fight day weigh-in where he was like 180, just under that. And it's like 180, and I think Jack Della was 190. You know, I know that's only a £10 difference, but a £10 can make a lot of a difference in a fight if you train, you know. And it's like, the size and power advantage of JDM in this fight is going to be crazy. You don't even understand. Like, when he lands, he just gives, people just start bleeding. And he doesn't understand, because he fought Gilbert Burns, and Gilbert Burns this past weekend, if you watched it, I don't blame you if you didn't watch it. The card was very mid. It was a great card in reality. There was a lot of finishes, but you know. But he just curled up in a ball and quit, essentially, if you don't know, right? The only guy that Jack Della Maddalena hasn't really made bleed is him in Kevin Holland, but Kevin Holland's got a chin of sucking granite anyway. And it's like, people talk about Islam striking like, oh, he outstruck Poirier, like there isn't something known as a takedown threat. Are we stupid enough to believe that Islam would go into a fucking, I don't know, a boxing match with fucking Islam, Poirier and Islam in a boxing ring, and we really think we really gonna go to the terms that Islam would beat him in a boxing or a striking match in a fucking cage? Don't be stupid. The amount of people who have been saying that, like, Islam's this, like, ungodly striker. Like, I'm not gonna lie, he did have good moments. He landed the better combinations of practically every round, right? But you're acting like Poirier didn't have his good moments too. He landed big shots in moments that round. I had it 2-2 going into the 5th round where Islam finished him, right? That's fair enough. Islam is a finisher, but so is Jack Della. Just saying, so is Jack Della. People forget about that. I know he couldn't fucking finish Kevin Holland of all people, but Kevin Holland is a hard guy to finish. Kevin Holland has a fucking chin as granite. No one's knocking that guy out. He couldn't finish Belal Muhammad. Neither could Jeff Neal. And Jeff Neal is probably one of the hardest hit. Like, if you watch the Jeff Neal fight, and then you watch the fucking JDM fight, you will see so much similarities. It's ungodly. You know what I mean? And it's like, as well as that, it's like, I've seen Islam get pieced up by Poirier. I've seen him get pieced up by a 145er and Volkanovski, who was a pound-for-pound fighter at the time. Now, you know what, you could argue after his Diego Lopez performance, but it's like, this is what, I know this is by one elbow, and to be fair, I do think that Islam is very soft-skinned. Like, there's a picture of him after the Volk fight. It's like, imagine what JDM's going to do after what he did to Belal Muhammad. Like, yeah, and as well as that, people are acting like Islam's going to make it look easy against JDM because he has no grappling, even though we've already seen the improvements JDM has made in his grappling, you know. And people are acting like, oh, Belal just decided not to shoot his takedowns in a championship fight where he is defending his belt. Are people stupid? Like, I've seen pro fighters on fucking TikTok, Insta Reels, and fucking Twitter, that place, that ungodly place, talk about how Belal wanted to prove his striking and how we can't call him boring. He had one fun fight where he was forced to strike and got battered. Like, don't get me wrong, I was one of the rare Belal people who were like, I think he's kind of underrated, you know, and I don't think he's that boring. I was always that person. You can go back to, I think, ranking all UFC champions video. I think it's very, very far behind. It was like a couple months ago now. It was like when I first started this channel. I was actually glazing Belal as actually a good champion. How fucking wrong was I? You know? And it's like, as well, it's like, we talk about Islam striking like it's something, like, it is overrated, like, it is good, but, like, he always oversteps his feet, he loses balance so much, sometimes he can just back out of exchange with his head in the air, it's weird, he's, like, very stiff, it's weird. If you've watched him fight, you know what I mean. And you look at, like, Islam's grappling, and it's like, it's really good, it's really technical, we know this, yeah? But every time we have seen someone on a full training camp, he has struggled to take them down. Like, obviously, Moicano, that was on a day's notice, took him down, strangled him, yeah, fair enough, right? Poirier, he went life and limb with, and what does Poirier? Poirier has, like, one hip, and has a replacement hip surgery, like, around the McGregor-Khabib time, you know? And then, what was before that? It was the Volkanovski fight, and Volkanovski was literally having the time of his life, and it was like, I do feel like if there wasn't a strength advantage for Islam, I reckon he would have gotten out of those positions and beat him. This is Volkanovski, and then I'm looking at like everyone on a full training camp has never had like an easy fight against him. It's always been a competitive fight. Like, I ain't saying, I do think that JDM will do this, but, like, I ain't saying it's going to be easy for Jack Della. I think he's going to lose them either the first or second round. And I think after the third, he's going to add all of his data together because he seems to be better in a 5-rounder, I noticed there. Yeah, you know, I ain't saying that. I think he'll win the last 3 rounds. That's all I'm saying, yeah? Right? And then, like, it's just like he struggled against everyone in a full training camp. If Islam struggles against everyone on a training camp, and Jack Della is a bigger human, just a bigger, more powerful human, What do you think he's going to do? He couldn't take down Dustin Poirier. Michael Chandler took down Dustin Poirier and controlled him for a round. An entire round. Even Charles Oliveira took him down. And you know what? The Charles Oliveira fight we can talk about too. We can talk about the Charles Oliveira fight. Charles Oliveira legitimately, the only reason why he was on bottom in their fight is because Charles Oliveira has a weird style of fighting which is called, I'm going to pull a guard in an MMA fight because my guard is so good. And they sort of just nullified each other, which is I sort of thought that, and I thought Oliveira would have the better striking and win that fight, but apparently not. But yeah, and then we'll get on to my next point, that Islam is very, not very, but he's kind of chinny. He is kind of chinny. Like, he's been rocked by Poirier in moments, but Poirier's a powerful guy. Before that, he knocked out Benoit Saint-Denis, which is fair enough, you know what I mean? He has not a lot of knockouts. But it's not like out cold knockout. It's like more of a accumulation of shots against the fence, because he's a right-handed southpaw. But then we got, he got rocked by he did get rocked by, what's his name? Volkanovski. Why do I keep forgetting his name? Volkanovski. He got rocked by Volkanovski, who was a fucking featherweight moving up. And I know he has that weird sort of volume and power, but it was one shot that rocked him backwards in I think it was the first couple of seconds in their fight. And then we're going to speak about, right, JDM's footwork and just, switch stances to avoid those takedowns. It's like, you're looking at all this type of stuff, and it's like, how is Islam going to take someone down if a better grappler, I think Belal Muhammad is a better grappler, not grappler, I'm going to say better wrestler than Islam, because his takedowns, and he chains it real better, he gets to the back really well, he does all that type of stuff really fucking well. And it's like, Islam is a good technical grappler. I do think Belal is a much better. Also, if you look here, look at all these lumps on his back. Definitely not steroided. And it's like, if this steroid head can't take you down, how is Islam going to take him down? And to be fair, Islam has also popped. So maybe that's not a good point. But it's like, he's switch dancing, making it harder for him to fucking thing. He's countering well. Like, if I'm going to give you a depiction of how I see this fight going, it's like, I think JDM's going to counter the counter shot, because Islam is a counter puncher, and maybe Islam will try and counter the counter from JDM and then get countered by JDM. So it's going to be, I don't think this fight will be entertaining though. I'll be that fair. I think it's going to be a very slow output fight. Maybe there'll be moments where JDM will shatter the nose. Maybe. But yeah, and it's like, it's not only people talk about JDM's boxing too, and it's like, JDM's boxing is really good. It's like, JDM's boxing is his best point. His takedown defense is really good. But a subject we're not talking about is his kicks. He's used good calf kicks against Kevin Holland. He's used good calf kicks against other guys too. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the names, to be honest with you. And it's like, he even used good teep kicks, front kicks, body kicks against Belal Muhammad, and sort of used that to counter his shots, lift up his knee to get him hesitating on a takedown. And it's like, yeah. And it's like, alright, and as well as this, I've got a really good point to mention at the end of this video. It's the last point I'm going to mention, and I'm going to shut up and I'm going to go to bed. It's very late. We need to talk about Jack Della Maddalena's improved grappling and takedown defense with Craig Jones. Think, if Craig Jones is looking at that Volkanovski fight, and then he's like, well, this is where we went wrong, this is where Volk went wrong, and all this type of stuff, and we've actually got a full training camp to prepare this time, even if Volk went back in there, but this is for JDM, who's a bigger, stronger, much physically bigger man. They're going to be looking at that alright, when you got the back position, you need to get your hips around the back, escape your hips, and try and spin into their guard and start hitting them and all this type of stuff. And then you've got to Craig Jones is one of the best anti-wrestlers in the game, and I do think that having him in your camp is like hacking. It really is like hacking. Fucking hell, Chester's killing. And it's like genuinely like hacking, especially against like grapplers like Bilal and that. And it's like, I'm not gonna lie to you, yeah. I was shit scared coming into this fight because I was like, if Bilal wins, I'm not gonna hear the fucking end of it. But he never won, so it's because like I did chose Bilal to lose this fight, and it's like if he lost and he got molested and he molested JDM for 5 rounds, I would have been looked like such a mug because I was like, oh, Leon didn't look too bad against him in hindsight and probably could beat him in a rematch. Yeah. I'm going to that length. Liam would beat Bilal in a rematch. I'm saying that much. Anyway, right, we need to talk about takedown defense of Jack Della Maddalena, and it's like with Jack Della Maddalena, his takedown defense is so good, and in the pocket as well, where that takedown always occurs. Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to shoot out from long range like their Khabib, because I do feel like now you just get sprawled on and choked. There's a clip I saw ages ago of Khabib, literally, he's literally cage. His back is on the cage essentially, and he just shoots for a single and actually gets the guy down. Like now, you just get sprawled and laughed at. But yeah, I think Jack Della Maddalena. If you genuinely want my like how I think this fight's gonna go, I think they're gonna touch gloves obviously and all that type of stuff. Jack Della Maddalena's gonna land big fucking jabs the entire time, keep switching his stances. Like if Jack Della gets in his flow early like he was in this fight, he is going to demolish Islam Makhachev. But I think he's going to land big jabs, make the nose bleed, over elbows and stuff, kicks, and all that type of stuff. And then he's going to kick him. He's going to use his range really well. He's going to make sure he's off centre line to avoid that takedown. Maybe Islam will get him on the fence, get his back on the fence, and then on the fence. And then when he gets on the fence, he's going to defend that takedown, spin him round. He's going to use his strength, push him against the fence, unload. And I think, you know what? I think Islam will get TKO'd in this fight.